Hey, everybody out there in podcast land, welcome to the latest episode of Sports Frenzy 2.0. Before we get started here with our normal, raucous, politically incorrect diatribes, discussions, rantings, and ravings.
An occasional intelligent tidbit.
Oh, I think more than occasional. But just want to send my thoughts, my prayers, shout out down to the people in Florida, my old stomping grounds. As we tape here tonight on October the 9th, they're looking at a little bit of a nasty weather situation. Milton has downgraded a little bit, but still Tampa, St. Pete, all the way through Orlando, Daytona Beach, looking at a rough night here. So I hope everything goes well. I hope Milton dies out. Does not end up being as much of a disaster as forecast a day or two ago. But that being said, if you still have power,
bonus.
You can listen to your Uncle Dave and I, the Conquistador Dave Height.
That's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
So, if we can take your mind off your worries for a couple hours, because of course this will drop very early on October the 10th, right when you guys are dealing with the biggest part of this mess. We hope we can offer some solace and relief. But there is no solace, there is no relief when it comes to the stupidity of sports. Yes, we start off with the NFL, and yes, we start off with the New York Jets. And I think this deserves...
We fucking told you so.
This could be the biggest one ever.
Oh my God.
We double dare dog fucking told you so.
Triple dog dared it.
We told you people we had seen almost every week, because we are watching all the games from the NFC North week in and week out. Even if the Bears aren't playing, we watch the Lions. We watch the Packers. We watch the Vikings. That's the default.
Yeah,
in case
it has to be.
So we have been more than exposed to the idiocy, the ego of one Aaron Rodgers. And now it has gone beyond nuclear to me.
We knew Robert Saleh was on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Over the last couple years, that team, for whatever reason, just can't get out of their own way, especially on offense. And you really thought your offensive woes were going to be solved by bringing in Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel fucking Hackett? Really? Hackett was a disaster. This is the third year in a row he has been a joke calling offenses.
Going back to his time with Denver.
Yeah, when he was the supposed head coach out there and was completely clueless. Now, it's the same crap. They can't get anything going.
And what I'm hearing behind the scenes is even more egregious. It's even more terrible that there are rumors that Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, who of course used to be our ambassador to Great Britain, was embarrassed by their performance against the Vikings. Then, of course, there are the rumors that Saleh actually was going to take a major step and say, Hackett sucks, we need to
dump his ass.
Well, they were going to pull play calling duties away from him. And, of course, little bitch boy, Mr. Ayahuasca, ran to the owner. And so Woody Johnson, the owner, admits, yeah, I talked to Aaron Rodgers the night before, but I made the decision.
But we didn't discuss Saleh's job. No, I was just calling to check on Aaron and how he was doing after the game. Bullshit. Rodgers trying to unequivocally deny that he has that kind of power. Bullshit.
You're a fucking liar and you're a fucking pussy. I'm sorry.
You're a fraud.
You are a pussy beyond all belief, Aaron Rodgers. You're a liar. You're a conspiracy theory nut job. And believe me, We usually buy into conspiracy theories.
We love a good conspiracy theory.
But not when it comes from Mr. Ayahuasca. And now they fire Robert Saleh and keep Nathaniel Hackett. But supposedly the great and glorious Nathaniel Hackett isn't good enough to be anointed the interim coach.
No. Because he already failed miserably in Denver.
So they say, okay, let's promote the defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich.
Because the defense is about the only bright spot they have.
But Saleh was a defensive guy. So what does this solve?
Woody Johnson is a fucking moron. He's one of these owners who cannot stay out of the day-to-day operations of a team.
Jerry Jones. How is this going to fix anything?
It's going to fix nothing. It's still going to be a train wreck disaster.
You have got one of the most promising young running backs in Breece Hall, who you have destroyed in the manner of a month and a half. Aaron Rodgers does not look good.
No, you got a talented young receiver who Rodgers is completely ignoring.
He did that until this week. He did finally figure out a way to bring him into Aaron Rodgers' game plan.
Yeah, but he's still going to busted-ass Lazard.
Still probably hoping and praying. Now, where's Joe Douglas in all this? Where's the general manager in all of this? That's my question.
Yeah, he's taking it up the ass from Rodgers.
Yeah. And Rodgers is telling him, go get Devontae Adams. Go get Devontae Adams.
Because that's going to solve everything. Not.
I mean, I was trying to think back when the news broke. Now, we have one current non-NFL situation, which we'll discuss in more detail at the end of the show. But I know the people out there in podcast land, because if you're listening to us, you're intelligent. You know what we're talking about. We have one situation out on the West Coast in basketball.
Oh my God.
That's very, very similar to this.
Yes, we do.
But beyond that, I had to think all the way back to maybe Terrell Owens to find the last individual player, who was this disruptive. Some would say Antonio Brown.
He's right up there.
Yeah. Antonio Brown was no fun to deal with.
No. Diggs isn't great, but he's not at this level. He's not even in the same league.
Not even close. And the Texans know they're done with him if need be after this year.
Yeah.
Now with the injury to Nico Collins,
they're going to have to rely on Diggs a little bit more.
And this will hopefully Tank Dell up, who's been a major disappointment this year.
Yeah.
But that's relative when you consider the fact they're 4-1. So you wouldn't say as a season so far the Texans are not disappointing, but there's still something not right with them.
Something's missing.
And now losing the one guy who was really, really playing well.
Yeah, the top receiver in the league to this point.
Because Joe Mixon, of course,
still dinged up with that ankle.
Had a great first few weeks.
And then got that hip drop tackle that wasn't called.
But they were still able to, at home, this past week, beat the Bills in a big game.
Yep.
So, I know that was kind of a little bit of a tangent. But we're not going to spend all night talking about the goddamn Jets.
No, they're a fucking train wreck. We knew it. We told you.
I cannot believe somebody would kowtow. Good for Green Bay, by the way.
For cutting bait on his ass?
Good for Green Bay. Look at Green Bay. And despite the fact with Jordan Love missing a couple weeks with the knee situation, could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, they're
fine.
They're in good
shape.
They're fine. And Green Bay fans are happy to be done with Rodgers.
And God help me, as militant as New York fans are they this distracted by the baseball teams?
That they're ignoring the football? They must be.
I got to believe, if this Monday night game, which, yes, believe it or not, is for first place in the AFC East.
That's how bad the East is right now.
If the Jets come out and look terrible after this week of drama, how the hell do the Jets fans not storm the field, put Aaron Rodgers
on feather his ass out of town
on a funeral pyre and burn him to a crisp? I mean, how are New York fans putting up with him? How are you putting up with him? You're just proving once again what we always say.
You are.
You are not true fans. You're sycophants.
Ugh.
No other team, no reasonable team would put up with this. The Packers shipped his ass out to you suckers out there in the Meadowlands.
And they laughed all the way.
Oh, my God. Again, you got to understand, kids, Dave and I, as Bears fans, have been dealing with this idiot and how he owns us for over a decade, and we're sick of him, and we can't get rid of him even though he's in another conference now.
Because his ego has to keep him front and center of everything.
Oh, now I will give him a little bit of credit. Little bit of credit. In the game versus the Vikings over in London, he did end up crossing the 60,000 passing yard mark.
We'll give him that.
So, but again, what, you've gotten one Super Bowl. Yes, it's better than most, but Trent Dilfer has one Super Bowl. Okay? Brad Johnson has one Super Bowl. And you're supposed to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, which I am not ever
year MVP
ever subscribing to. Ever. I will never,
How
ever,
has he
ever.
won multiple MVPs, by the way?
I will never, ever, ever consider him a top 10 all-time quarterback. I give Brett Favre more credit because of the way Brett Favre came back after burning the bridges with the Packers and played his ass off with the Vikings and looked like the greatest quarterback ever for that short period of time. And he looked like he had something to prove. You'll never see that of Aaron Rodgers.
Nope. No, he does not have the heart.
Or the balls. He does not.
No, he doesn't.
Good thing, though, we root for the Bears, who are looking fine right now, looking very good.
Yep, they did what they were supposed to do. Trounce the lowly Panthers.
Yes. Very nice, easy win, which I cannot believe. When was the last time the Bears had an easy win?
It's been a long damn time.
Bears beat the Panthers 36-10. Forget about the whole Andy Dalton revenge factor.
It was a non-factor.
No, the Bears were in control from beginning to end. Caleb Williams keeps ascending in terms of how he looks. His rating, his numbers keep getting better and better and better. He looks more comfortable in the pocket.
They're adapting the offense better to mitigate the shortcomings of that offensive line.
Yes. And hopefully the Bears will stay on a roll here because, again, the second half of the schedule is brutal.
Yeah, it's all...
Well, you're going to be playing the Packers twice, the Vikings twice, the Lions twice.
Yeah, it's mostly division games.
Yeah.
They backloaded that for some stupid reason.
Yep. And bad news for the upcoming London game, which we'll pick in a few minutes here. Our MVP on defense, Jaquan Brisker, out with a concussion.
Protocol. That, I saw the replay of that. That is all on the damn running back from the Panthers lowering his head. Brisker did everything he needed to avoid helmet-to-helmet contact, and that was initiated by the running back, putting them both in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, but it's not going to change the fact that we don't have him this week.
I know. It's
against
pathetic.
The Jaguars in their second home stadium.
Yeah, I know. That's damn ridiculous.
That's fine. That's fine.
The Jaguars still are not all that.
Nope. Little little tidbit to point out. All three of the first-round quarterbacks, of course, 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round in the 2024 draft. 3 of them, you got J.J. McCarthy out for the year due to injury. You've got Penix in Atlanta, obviously going to sit behind Kirk Cousins, especially after what he did this past week.
504 yards. Holy crap.
4 TDs, only 1 pick.
Yeah. That was a game for the ages.
That was one that reminded us that maybe these guys do know how to play football.
Yeah.
At least on the offensive side. But then you've got Sean Payton in Denver, might have his guy with Bo Nix, and
He's starting to look pretty decent.
A lot of people pointing to the fact that this past weekend, compare and contrast, Sean Payton inherited Russell Wilson, didn't want him, obviously.
Didn't want him at all. Shipped him.
Yelled at him last year, tore him a new asshole, and Russell Wilson just sat there and
took it.
Bo Nix this year, Sean Payton goes and gets in his face, and
Bo Nix gives it right back to him. That was a beautiful thing. That is the competitive nature and fire a quarterback has to have. The confidence to go toe-to-toe with your head coach and to be able to hash things out.
Yeah, not like going back to the Jets again a couple weeks ago, which we pointed out and discussed. That really awkward, weird exchange between Rodgers and Saleh.
Yeah, going in for the hug after a good play and Rodgers shoving him away.
Everybody should have known at that point
there
was something wrong.
Yeah.
There's no, well, it's because I was trying to tell him.
No,
we've got an entire season to go. We've got 4 quarters to go. Bullshit.
You're
you
an
didn't
asshole.
Like the guy.
You are an asshole, Rodgers, plain and simple.
And again, I hate to go back to it again. If Nathaniel Hackett is Aaron Rodgers' butt buddy, then why the hell didn't Woody Johnson just promote him? And again, Joe Douglas nowhere to be found. Why didn't they just make Nathaniel Hackett the head coach?
Because maybe Johnson isn't that stupid after all.
But he's still kissing Rodgers' ass by firing Saleh because Saleh was going to take away the play calling duties from Hackett.
I know, and now
it makes
the new guy is considering taking play calling duties away still.
Of course, we talked about the injury to Nico Collins. We've got an injury to Derek Carr, quarterback of the Saints. He's got an oblique issue. So now we're going to get another rookie quarterback starting this week.
Yep, Spencer Rattler. Going to take the reins down in New Orleans.
And Drake May.
Yep, Drake May out in New England for the Patriots. So
that'll put us up to 5 rookie starting quarterbacks.
Frightening, isn't it?
Yeah, they're saying next year you better wait for the nuclear bottom to drop out. And it's going to be like it was a few years ago. Remember, we had Kenny Pickett was the only first-round quarterback selected. They're saying look for that next year.
Yeah,
because nobody sold on Shedeur Sanders or Ewers.
No.
And then, of course, the Colts, it just gets better and better for the Colts. Because you've already missed games with your young stud quarterback, Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
Now, Jonathan Taylor looking like a China doll. He misses a game, probably going to miss another one.
Yep, now Pittman looks like he's going to be missing multiple weeks with an injury.
He's got a back issue.
That's never good.
Now, I will say this. And we're going to pick this game coming up. Colts, Titans, God help us all.
Boy, you talk about a shit show.
The Colts are better off with Joe Flacco.
They
lost last week. I know they lost last week.
They look better offensively with Flacco at the helm.
And they've got the other 2 receivers who seem like they're fine.
Yeah,
They
they're
fit
going to
in well
be
with-
okay.
Taylor would be nice to have back. If they had Taylor back with Flacco,
Then you're looking at a whole new ballgame.
yeah. Yeah, and that defense is just abysmal. It's got to be one of the worst, if not the worst, defenses in the league. But yeah, there's your injury list for the week. Your crime blotter for the week.
Jabril Peppers for New England, now put on the commissioner's exempt list, arrested for strangulation and drug possession.
Yep.
God, what a fine, upstanding citizen.
Guys, I know women can drive you nuts. They can drive you crazy. I get it.
Keep your damn hands to yourself, you roided out morons.
Get in the car. Drive away. Drive to a friend's house.
Just walk away.
Yeah. Let's not beat up our baby mama, okay? Shouldn't be something that we have to tell you, but I guess we do. Don't beat up your baby mama. And then before we finally do our recap and then our picks for the NFL this week, I do have my Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week in the NFL. TJ Watt. TJ Watt, turning 30 years old here in a couple days on October the 11th. He has hit 100 sacks in his career. I believe now he's up to 101. Just keep in mind, the reason why I point out that he's going to be 30 years old by the time he plays his next game, he is only halfway to the record of 200 set by one Bruce Smith. So he's got a long way to go.
He's got a good long career ahead of him.
Now, hopefully he can stay a lot healthier than his brother.
Oh my God, yes, please.
I already think TJ is a better player than JJ.
Yeah, JJ had all the hype, but TJ's definitely the better player, the better athlete.
All right, looking back at last week, we picked all the games. We're not going to go through every one. We did mention last Thursday night's game. Phenomenal game between the Falcons and the Buccaneers.
Yep, going to overtime. That was a hell of a... Buccaneers were out. Falcons had to come back, force overtime, got the ball, and they got the touchdown for the win.
Yeah, and the Buccaneers, this is why, as a Buccaneers fan, I do not trust Todd Bowles, is because they mismanaged the game after they got a pick, and they should have been able to at least run the clock down to the point where they didn't give Kirk Cousins any time to march down the field to tie the game. But they did. They fucked it up, and this is, again, why I don't trust Todd Bowles as a head coach. Baker Mayfield had a nice, efficient game, no turnovers.
Mayfield looks good.
Yep. Now, he didn't throw for a ton of yards like Kirk Cousins had to.
He didn't have to because they were in the lead the whole game, and Cousins had to throw to come back.
Right. I mean, Baker threw for less than 200 yards, but he still threw for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. They were an efficient offense that were in control of the game.
Whereas you pointed out earlier, over 500 yards for Kirk Cousins. He is back. I don't think we have to worry about his recovery from his Achilles injury, unlike somebody in the upper Northeast. We talked about the Bears blowout. We talked about the Jets' embarrassing loss in London to the Vikings.
Yep, the score was closer than the game actually was.
The thing is, of course, I got up early, watched the whole game. The thing is, the second half, the Jets dominated. The Vikings could do nothing on offense.
They made no adjustments.
Well, Aaron Jones got hurt, so the running game was gone. And then they shut down Justin Jefferson, which left Sam Darnold nobody to throw to.
No, because you're still waiting on Hawkinson to come back.
Right. But because the Jets' offense was so inept, And the Vikings defense.
Vikings defense, led by Brian Flores, has been out fucking standing this year.
Yeah. And that defense won them that game. Because that defense helped them get that huge lead at halftime.
Yeah, they were held on for a pick six.
And of course, they had the pick at the end, too.
Yep.
Now, the Jets, if they had been, I'm not throwing Saleh under the bus, but if they had been coached Aaron Rodgers in any way, shape, or form fairly well, they should have been able to win that game.
Yeah, it was a winnable game for them if they would have had somebody other than Mr. Ayahuasca at the helm.
Yeah.
Then we already covered the Bears trouncing the Packers.
Ravens are the best team in football right now.
I
will say it. Even though I'm worried about their defense, this is not the old Ravens defense we're used to.
No, but that offense is clicking. They have a running game finally with Derrick Henry.
And I think it took them a couple weeks to figure out how to use him.
Yeah.
They get off to the slow start. Yes, the embarrassing loss to the Raiders. But now that they know how to use Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers is turning into an actual credible target in the passing game for Lamar. And I'm gaining a lot of respect for Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson's game is evolving.
Yes.
He is learning how to be a quarterback.
Finally.
Yes.
Yes. And he is overcompensating in a good way for the fact that this is not the old school Ravens defense. He's looking at these games going, I'm going to have to score 30-plus points every game.
Yeah, we're going to have to put it up. Now, he doesn't have to be the sole runner. He's got Derrick Henry to shoulder the load.
Yep.
Something that they've been missing since Jackson got there.
Yep. And, of course, they go into Cincinnati. The Bengals desperate. Another team with an awful, abysmal defense. In overtime, the Ravens win 41-38.
That was a shootout from hell.
Basically burying the Bengals. The Bengals now are going to have to get on a 5 or 6 game run if they have any shot.
They do this to themselves every damn year.
People are talking about Joe Burrow, other than Lamar Jackson, for MVP with a team that's 1-4 because
you
of
look
the
at the numbers he's
up.
putting up.
Yeah.
The connection with Jamar Chase. My God.
It took them a couple of weeks to
Fantasy
get
numbers
going.
last week.
T. Higgins.
Yeah, over 32 points I got out of Burrow. I got over 40 points from Jamar Chase.
And they still lose.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they need to do something with that defense, and their slow starts are killing them.
And they're in a tricky situation now because you've got your quarterback, you've paid the quarterback, you haven't paid the receiver yet.
Yep, you're gonna
and now
have to
what are
pay
you going
a
to do
receiver.
with T. Higgins? Are you going to bail on the season and trade him? If you pay Jamar Chase, that's money you can't put on the defensive side to shore that up because that's obviously a glaring weakness. Just saying. Now, I do believe their schedule finally lightens up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It's coming up, so we'll see if they can make up any ground. Oh, last week's shit show game, the Dolphins at the Patriots. And
I will never pick the Patriots ever again. How do you lose to the Dolphins? 15-10.
That's why Drake May is going to be starting this coming week.
Yeah, I know they're throwing him to the Lions because he's playing
God.
the Texans, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Oh my! Yeah, poor Drake May is going to get destroyed. Couldn't put him up against the Browns. Couldn't put him up against the Jaguars. No, it's got to be against the Texans.
So bad.
And that could be the last game the Dolphins win this year.
It very well could be. And then the Browns are just horrible.
And this is something we've talked about. It's not, yes, they should pay for their stupidity. Nobody's saying they should not pay for their stupidity. But the fact that this will destroy their franchise for the next 3 to 4 years is just not right.
We fucking told you so back when they signed Watson to that stupid-ass deal. We told you this was going to come back and bite him in the ass, that Watson was not that good of a quarterback.
And it's
he was
fully guaranteed.
Yeah. They've got no cap relief. It's their own damn fault.
So Jaden Daniels goes in as a rookie. People are talking about him for MVP. And we've got a big showdown this week between the Commanders and the Ravens.
Yep. So that's going to be a hell of a game.
I hope that's on the national feed.
That
probably
be
won't be, but they'll probably be the Cowboys. No, they're playing Sunday night.
Yeah, so we might, maybe, hopefully get the best game. But the Commanders rolling the Browns 34-13. Dan Quinn has that team playing well.
They just need a good head coach.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn is a good head coach. He just had a brain fart late in a Super Bowl.
Yep.
With time management. But Daniels went into a good situation with a phenomenal head coach who knows how to run a quarterback.
And they changed ownership and got the poisonous Dan Snyder out of there.
Yeah, they did what they needed to shore that team up. He's got a good offensive line in front of him.
And that team, if I'm not mistaken, that team will have a ton of money to spend.
Yeah, they're still in
on both sides of the
shape.
ball. Because this is why they let Montez Sweat go. Thank you very much.
Yep.
We'll take it. Chase Young, well, he's not that good, but at least they got rid of him before they had to pay him.
Yeah. So.
You know, they have done a decent job of managing that team now, waiting for the franchise quarterback, much like the Chicago Bears.
Yep. And it shows the quality of coaching that they have now in Washington versus what they have in Chicago.
But we're 3-2, bud.
We should be 4-1. Actually,
we will see.
If we had a damn decent enough general manager and coach, we're not that far off from should be undefeated.
Well, we should beat the Colts.
We should have beaten the Colts. And the way the defense played against the Texans and the shit show that Waldron called on offense that day, the Bears were in contention. They had a chance to win that game.
They have been in all 5 games. They have been.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you on that. The true test will be in the second half of the season.
Yep. Then we'll see where we're at.
Can we split with these other teams in the division? Can we play the Lions tough? Can we beat the Vikings at Soldier Field? Can we beat the Packers at Soldier Field?
Can we win at home?
If we can go 3-3 against division, we got a shot at the playoffs, and it's a success, and it's a great building block to next year, even if we don't make the playoffs.
Right.
The Jaguars finally win, so there are no winless teams left in the NFL. We mentioned this earlier, even though Joe Flacco put up a ton of yardage, there's another team with a shitty defense.
Yeah.
The Colts. Jaguars win at home 37-34.
Good Lord.
Now we just got to hope that momentum gets stopped immediately.
By a damn good Bears defense.
Again, no Jaquan Brisker, though.
Right.
That bothers me.
But we weathered it just fine before without him.
Bills starting to backslide a little bit. Josh Allen did not look good at all.
Josh Allen should not have gone back into the game after his head bounced off the turf.
Texans win at home 23-20. So now the Texans clear cut along with the Ravens and the Chiefs, the top 3 teams in the AFC. The Bills now, we wonder, going into a crucial Monday night game.
And once again, their head coach mismanages the clock.
And you and I...
Sean McDermott is a joke.
You and I have both said that team needs a better head coach. Josh Allen needs a better head coach. As opposed to the shit show in New York. Let's look at it this way. Let's just suppose. Let's look to the future. Look to the future. Let's say both the Jets and the Bills fire their head coaches. The Jets already have, let's say, Albrecht done. Oh, he's gone. They don't want him. So they're looking for a new head coach. Bills look. Who do you think the best head coaches are going to gravitate to? Josh Allen.
Josh Allen and the Bills.
Nobody's going to want to deal with the Jets drama.
No. Not with that crap
And
fest.
this is why I wish, for the sake of Bills fans, that we know
Yep.
that they had done this a year or two ago, because I could just see this coming. Sean McDermott is, and he'll probably get another job.
Oh, of course he will.
I heard people talking about Saleh possibly getting the Colts job
Oh, good Lord.
because Steichen has done such a bad job. And the problem is Steichen's stuck with Anthony Richardson.
That's the problem.
That's an Irsay problem, is what that is.
Yeah.
Just like the Jets, it's an ownership problem. You're giving too much power to the quarterback, whether it's young, whether it's old.
Yep. Story as old as time.
I'm getting all choked up.
Yep. And we talked about the Broncos and the fire shown by Knicks going up against Peyton on the
The
sidelines.
Raiders are in the Shador Sanders.
Bad.
Yes. They're switching quarterbacks now.
O'Connell taking over for Minshew. It's not a quarterback issue. They're just not good.
Yeah. And I don't think it's I don't want to say anything bad about Antonio Pierce. I think he's done a decent job.
Yeah, they just don't have any coordinators who know what the hell
Well,
they're
you've
doing.
got another
And they-
psycho owner too.
Yeah. Yeah. Bowl cut.
Yeah. What he gets his hair cut at the Lemon Tree, and he always has to eat at what P.F. Chang's or the Cheesecake
Something
Factory.
Stupid. Ugh.
Shocker. Shocker, shocker, shocker. Just when you jump off the Cardinals bandwagon.
I know they should have lost to the Niners. The Niners, I don't know what's going on there.
They're completely healthy,
They've,
except for McCaffrey, but Jordan Mason is fine.
yeah,
So there's no excuse there.
no. This game was a defensive letdown by the Niners.
I agree. This is another team, like the Ravens, who does not have the defense they were supposed to.
Right. Where are these guys? Why aren't they showing up? Series after series.
And we're going to talk about another team here in a couple minutes where I'm going to say the same thing. The big legendary defensive team collapsed again. But yeah, now the 49ers are in trouble. They are 2-3. They have got to win this big Thursday night showdown in Seattle. Now, lucky for them, they've got a division which is crap, just like the Jets and the Bills. You know, it's not like the NFC North.
They should be able to come out of this.
Yeah, the NFC North is stellar, okay?
It's stacked.
But you've got all these other divisions that are kind of...
Meh.
Yeah. So, again, crucial game coming up for the 49ers. Cardinals, just when you think they're cooked, they're done, they pull one out of their ass. So they live to breathe and potentially pull off another crazy win at some point down the road.
Yep. Then the Packers go out to SoFi and take out the Rams 24-19.
Yeah, the Rams are in trouble.
The Rams are a hot mess.
But that's all because of injury.
It is.
Really...
They are injury bitten like nobody's business.
Yeah. They still don't have Puka. They still don't have Cooper Kupp. It's just, there's only so much Stafford and Kyron Williams can do.
Yeah.
And Sean McVay.
Yeah, they're understaffed on offense. The defense, without Aaron Donald, they're struggling.
Yep.
So
they're going to get a top 10 pick.
Yep.
Sorry. And a lot of people thought they were going to step up and be a playoff team this year. I was like,
no, don't count on it.
But I didn't think they'd be this bad. But again, I didn't project all the injuries.
Right. Injuries are taking their toll. And stop the presses. The Giants go out to Seattle and beat the Seahawks.
Well, it's not too hard to figure out who the best football head coach is in New York. Brian Daboll's not a bad head coach.
No.
He's probably the guy who should be running the Bills, since that's where he came from.
Right. Yeah, having been their coordinator and now getting this gig, no, he should have been promoted for the Bills.
And now I wonder
don't.
how good are the Seahawks?
I
I
know
was impressed with them in the Monday night game the previous week against the Lions.
But then you allow the Giants to put up 29 on you? Really?
Yeah, no, there were some fluky plays in there, but
still. Still, come on.
And they did not have Malik Neighbors, the stud rookie wide receiver, either.
Right. Yes.
And then we get to the game I wanted to talk about. The Sunday night game between the Cowboys and the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Where was the vaunted Steelers defense on that last drive?
It disappeared.
As they just let the Cowboys drive right down the field. Rico Dowdle has a career game.
Prevent defense.
CeeDee Lamb did nothing.
CeeDee Lamb is I've been saying CeeDee Lamb is overrated. He does not show up when it's crunch time.
Well, and he and Dak Prescott have got these issues going, and you better figure them out because you're both
stuck
under
with
contract.
them both.
Yeah.
You gave Dak $60 million for what? Again, never should have gotten that much damn money.
I will say this. Based on what I saw in this game, the Cowboys come back, win in the last second, 20-17. Dak looked a lot better than CeeDee Lamb did. Dak was able to make use of these other weapons.
Yeah, they were able to get open and Lamb wasn't.
Right. Do I believe in the Cowboys? No. Now, do I believe in the Steelers? No. And now the rumors are they're looking at Russell Wilson. They're going to screw the Bears, of course.
Yeah.
Because the Bears need Justin Fields to play half the season.
Wilson,
so we get the higher pick.
Wilson is going to shit the bed as well, and he's going to wind up getting hurt. And Fields is still going to have to come back in.
Then your best buddy, George Pickens, he's got issues again. But we'll talk about that at the end of the show. And then on the Monday night game, you had much more faith in the Saints than I ever would have.
Yeah, I did. And through, about the first almost 3 quarters, that Saints defense kept them in the game. They were holding the Chiefs in check, trying to give Carr and company the opportunity, but they looked awful. And it wasn't so much the Chiefs' defense as just they were inept in this one.
Well, remember, and we have to call ourselves out. First 2 weeks, we were, Clint Kubiak might have figured out how to use Rashid Shaheed, and Derek Carr looks better, and Alvin Kamara is a fantasy football stud.
Again, nope. They just completely forgot what the hell they were doing.
I'm surprised Chris Olave has not asked for a trade.
Yeah, no kidding. Good grief.
They're not even looking at him right now. Now we'll see, though, what happens this week against the Buccaneers because Derek Carr with an oblique injury.
Yep, Spencer Rattler, the rookie, has to take the helm.
So we'll see what they do. I would imagine we're going to see a lot, if he's healthy, a lot of Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So that leads us into
this week's picks. Bum, 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 bum.
As we mentioned, Thursday night, October the 10th.
Yep, 7 of our 8 panelist picks are in. Niners go into Seattle in a must-win for the Niners. And with the epic collapse, the Seahawks just not showing up. 49ers across the board.
Little shocking to me. Little
that nobody
shocking.
Bit.
But I think we all are smart enough on this expert
we
panel.
know who the best team is.
And they're just going through a rough patch. They're all healthy, with the exception, again, of CMC, the China doll.
Yep.
But Jordan Mason is more than capable of carrying the load. But they've got Debo. They've got Ayuk, who finally showed up and had a big game.
Yeah.
They've got Kittle. This team can play. And it's not Brock Purdy's fault.
No, it's not.
So it's just a bump in the road.
They're going to be fine.
And I think they will win. As our panel agrees, they will win this game.
Yep.
Even though it's in hostile territory.
Then we jump across the pond.
Could we have some tea and crumpets?
Bangers and mash.
No, we want some Chicago pizza.
Give me the deep dish there, man. All right.
Another one across the board.
Yep, we're going with the Bears over the lowly Jags.
Across the pond, across the board. I am hoping this is not a stumble. If this is a stumble game and they don't show up and play well and beat the Jaguars, then we go back to the discussion about, is Matt Eberflus really the right head coach?
We're not convinced he is.
They need to win this game and win it convincingly. I don't care if they're playing it in Dubuque, Iowa. They're playing it in London.
The Bears have the better personnel on both sides of the ball.
Exactly. And the Jaguars barely won at home against an inept Colts team.
The inept Colts team that beat the Bears, which never should have happened.
But again, we had to give a couple weeks. Got to give Caleb a couple weeks. Got to give Shane Waldron a couple weeks to get his feet under him as well.
Learn his personnel.
But now there is no excuse.
Nope, not at all. Then, this week's shit show game of the week. Colts at the Titans. Oh my God.
We don't know who's going to be quarterback in the Colts. We don't know who's going to be quarterback in the Titans. We don't know who the running back for the Colts is going to be.
It's just bad.
I just don't trust the Titans.
No, neither do I.
And
I know they're at home.
I am again, like last week. It didn't work out for me last week, but I am again banking on one more week of Joe Flacco.
That's the better quarterback of anybody on either side of the ball.
And I don't think the loss of Pittman hurts the receiving core.
No.
I would like to see, again, Jonathan Taylor running the ball, but Trey Sermon will be serviceable. I'll take the Colts again. I can't believe I'm doing it, but I'll take the Colts again.
You're taking the Colts. I'm taking the Colts. So Sam and Aaron, we've got Bill, Nick, and Doug going with the lowly Titans. Bill, just because tits is in there.
He just likes tits, yeah. Who doesn't like tits?
Everybody loves
Supposedly,
tits.
you go down to that downtown Nashville, that's like the coolest place in the world to go right now.
Yeah, where they're all out on display.
Yeah, plenty of tits. Just like Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
Yep. All right.
And we'll get to that right now.
Yep, your Buccaneers going down to Nolans to take on the Saints and the rookie quarterback.
Yep, you've already mentioned the fact Spencer Rattler will be taking over for an injured Derek Carr.
Yep.
And that's why I think even though Sam and Bill are taking the Saints, I think they jumped the gun. They did not look at the news. They did not do their due diligence.
But still, Baker Mayfield has been outperforming Derek Carr.
Yeah,
overall.
I probably would have taken the Bucs either way.
I still would have taken the Bucs.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bucs, the problem with the Bucs, a little bit shaky with the running game. They're not sure if they want to go Bucky Irving or Rashad White. It's not the worst thing in the world to have a committee of two decent running backs.
Yeah.
When you've got Mike Evans, you've got Chris Godwin. Now they finally figured out after an off year last year how to use Chris Godwin in this offense. Cade Otton is not a bad tight end.
No, they're doing all right.
They'll be fine.
So, all right. Commanders at the Ravens. Nick.
Yep, Nick's
taking the Commanders. He's on Washington Island.
That's fine. He can lose that one because there's no way. The Ravens are the best team in football right now. It's not even fucking close.
No, they are firing. So they
got out of the gate slow, but they are firing on all cylinders. I would be shocked if the Ravens lose more than one more game the rest of the year.
Yep, and it's not going to be this one.
Nope. But it'll be interesting. Again, I want to see this game. Hopefully this will be on national TV.
This would be very good. Then we've got the Chargers coming off the bye, going to Denver to take on the Broncos.
On the surface, not the most sexy matchup, but you got to remember the coaches. You have got Jim Harbaugh versus Sean Payton. This would be another game I wouldn't mind seeing.
This would be fun.
Even though both teams are still a year or two away from really being where they're going to be and become contenders when the Chiefs start falling off.
Yeah. That's going to happen, kids, believe it or not.
Yep.
Sam and I are the lone Charger picks. I'm taking Harbaugh coming off the bye. Being prepared.
That is important. Harbaugh's got the rest.
That's the only reason I'm taking the Chargers over the Broncos.
Herbert's got the extra week to get his ankle right.
Yep.
But they just don't have the weapons on offense.
No, but I'm banking on
that Broncos defense is
the Broncos
nasty.
Defense is tough and nasty, but Harbaugh is the defensive guy.
And they've got a good defense too.
They do. So
they're going to harass. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I tell you that.
So it's
going to be like a 13-10 type game. But I just, again, I love when we were talking earlier about Bo Nix getting in Sean Payton's face, showing him, I'm not going to take your shit, buddy.
Yeah. You say this is what I saw. This is why I did what I did.
Yep. And I guarantee you Sean Payton went back to his office and loved it.
Oh,
he loved it.
Yep. So that's the competitive nature he's looking for. All right. Lions going to Dallas to take on them Cowboys. Yeah, nobody believes in the Cowboys. Lions across the board.
The Cowboys have won 2 games in a row so tight. First the Giants and then
doing it.
Well, they're not playing top-level competition either.
No.
Despite what you want to say about the Steelers. The Steelers are not a great team.
No, they are not by any stretch.
They've got a good defense, but that offense is abysmal. And the Cowboys barely getting by them, barely getting by the Giants. This is a different beast they are playing. The Lions, a lot of people are saying, very funny discussion I heard, saying they're going to boat race the Cowboys, and then people start going, is boat race really a bad thing? When did it become a bad thing to boat race a team?
I don't know.
What is this, Miami Vice? What are we doing here?
There you go.
But yeah, everybody's taking the Lions. I don't think it's going to be close.
Nope. All right. Bills at Jets. What do you say, Island Boy?
Island Boy! Because
the new head coach.
Because I am such a cynical, and wait till we get to the college picks, because I am such a cynical bastard, I believe that evil will always find a way to win. Evil will always win. We're experiencing this in our lives right now. We've been going through this for months. Evil will find a way to win.
We cannot give up the good fight.
I'm not saying I'm triumph all the way, baby. Fight the good fight. Every moment of your lifetime. Every minute, every day. But the evil ones don't play by the rules that we do. Josh Allen did not look good last week.
He's due for a comeback.
This is do or die for Mr. Ayahuasca. As I said earlier, if they fail this game, if they lose this game and look awful,
is it time to bench his
I
ass?
am telling you that the fans will come out of the stands at MetLife and kill him. They will tar and feather him like you said.
And run him out on a rail.
They will skin him. The Jets have got to win this game to save face. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I'm hoping they lose. But again,
I'm picking against them on principle.
Evil always wins.
I'm picking against the Jets on principle.
Everybody else is with you.
Yep.
You know Mrs. C's going to be with you.
Yep.
The one pick that's not in yet.
There you go. I would not be surprised if the Jets pulled this off, but I just don't have any faith in the team chemistry there.
If they don't, I will just say, and if I'm wrong, and that's fine, this is one of those games where if I'm wrong, I will actually be happy. If
we will dance on Aaron Rodgers' tarred and feathered body.
There is no coming back from 2-4.
Not with
with
that
what
team.
they just pulled this past week.
Yeah. They pulled the panic button too early.
Yes. And this is why this
Or
game,
push the panic
they have got to show up this coming Monday night and play to win the game. They have got to play to win the game.
We'll see if they can.
Just like Herm Edwards always said, play to win the game. The old Jets coach, who I bet they wish they had right now.
No kidding.
They probably wish they had Eric Mangini. They're probably thinking about calling Adam Gase.
Yes, I just gave him the crazy eye look.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's move on to college football. Notre Dame had a bye this week.
They did.
And I guess it was a good thing considering what happened.
Good Lord, everybody lost.
The top teams, 5 of the top 11 teams in the AP poll lost. 4 of those 5 lost to unranked teams.
Yep, welcome to Notre Dame hell.
And I thought Miami was going to be, oh my God. Oh my God. They looked so
that
bad.
Was just not
they
good.
Looked so bad.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, I can't stand this whole, now we'll turn it on.
No, you don't. You
2
can't
weeks in
do
a row
that.
they've done, 2 games in a row they've done this to me.
You can't keep doing
No,
that.
they're
a recipe
never gonna,
for disaster.
No, Miami beats Cal 39-38, having to engineer a 25-point comeback.
That's not going to happen again.
This defense is not good. And that seems to be a theme between the pros and the college ranks. A lot of bad defenses out there.
Yeah.
But
and
Miami
we'll get
survives.
To that too.
Miami survives, moves up to number 6 in the AP poll. They got an off week, but
they need to regroup. They've got some work to do.
They've still got 2 or 3 tough games coming up in a row here. I know they got Louisville coming up. Florida State's coming up. Now, you can argue that's not a tough game. That's a rivalry game. I told you with Virginia Tech. I told you, doesn't matter what the record is, that's a rivalry game.
That's always going to be a tough one.
Yep.
And it came down to the wire.
Notre Dame, don't get mad at me, but it seems like Notre Dame fans get to be a little bit hypocrites here, where they always get mad when somebody moves up in the polls when they don't play. And now this week, all of a sudden, Notre Dame moves up in the polls even though they didn't play. So Notre Dame now up to a tie in the AP poll for 11th.
What is this bullshit this year with allowing ties for rankings?
What the vote numbers? If you got the same number of votes,
I mean,
in terms of grand total.
When have we ever seen that before this year?
Well, we've seen it before. It's happened before.
Not as often as we've seen this year. This year it seems to be running rampant.
This is not the 11th best team in the country. This is not the 11th best team in the country. I'm sorry.
No, they're not. Not with that quarterback.
But they have got such a cake schedule the rest of the way.
Is any schedule really a cake schedule?
Yes. Yes, they're not playing an SEC schedule. I'm admitting this with Miami, too. Notre Dame wouldn't survive it. Miami wouldn't survive it.
Hell, a vast majority of the SEC can't survive it. So why do you continue to want to expand that damn conference? And make it more of a...
Speaking of which, one of those teams that lost was number 1 Alabama.
Kind of shows Alabama shouldn't have jumped up that far, should they have?
They get beat by Vanderbilt. Wow. The doormat of the SEC.
Vanderbilt led that entire game.
Alabama loses 40-35. Now, some people will say, is it because of the letdown after the big win against Georgia?
If you are the number 1 team in the country, you are not going to have that kind of letdown.
But look at the other teams that lost, at least one in particular. a team that I think you and I both thought was going to be standing at near the very top at the end. Tennessee lost.
What the hell happened there?
That blows my mind. Now, USC lost. Lincoln Riley's going to get fired. Lincoln Riley's going to get fired.
He should, because he does not know how to have a defense.
Michigan lost. It doesn't
That's
shock me.
not surprising.
I think they were a little overrated for beating up on USC.
Yeah.
And then Missouri, you called it last week. I will bow down to you. Missouri was due to shit the bed, and they did. But yeah, I kind of agree with you that maybe we were a little too eager to jump on the Crimson Tide bandwagon.
Yeah.
Knocking Texas down when Texas didn't do anything wrong.
Right. They just kept on going.
Yep.
So.
Going back to Notre Dame. Couple bad things happened even though they were on a bye week. Defensive end Boubacar Traore. Torn ACL. He is out for the year.
Ouch. That hurts.
And then they lost a big-time quarterback commitment. Deuce Knight decommits from Notre Dame. He's heading to Auburn.
Yep, Auburn ponied up more money. But when you've got Carr sitting there, who should be the next starting quarterback coming up, who's supposed to be the talented one, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, these kids are looking for playing time.
Yeah, that's all it is. They're looking for playing time and money.
One final note before we move on, looking real quick back at last week, at any games we might have missed, and then looking forward to this weekend. This weekend, we're not picking the game, but Indiana playing Northwestern this weekend. Now, Indiana's ranked, looking really good, so this does not fall within our point spread purview. But did you know that this is the first ever game in what we used to call D1, now, of course, the FBS.
Whatever.
Where you have got two teams playing each other that historically have 700 or more losses.
Ouch.
And believe it or not, IU,
wow.
Indiana, and Northwestern are the top two in college history. Right now, IU, 713 losses. Northwestern, 703.
Not surprising. Neither one is really a football powerhouse. Never has been.
But I'm telling you, IU looks good.
IU has got a damn good team this year.
Yep.
All right, recapping. Wow. Syracuse taking out number 25 UNLV last week in overtime.
So much for you and I and our logic.
Yeah, go figure.
After they came back after the one prick left the program, the starting quarterback, because he didn't get his NIL money.
Yeah,
and then
so
they
the
looked
next
fine.
guy, they look just fine, and then the defense completely disappears. So Aaron, the only one on Syracuse Island to get that.
We mentioned Missouri shit the bed.
Yep.
Good call on your part.
Yeah, A&M took them apart 41-10.
I call the one pick this week, the one goddamn pick from this past weekend, where I actually look smart.
You and Doug.
Yep. I told you SMU was better than Louisville. And
I wasn't convinced.
SMU went to Louisville and won by a touchdown. So that was the one pick where I'm like, thank you, God, for saving a little bit of my ego.
Yeah.
Because then you and I get
And then
screwed.
we fucked by Boston College losing to Virginia. Seriously, come on.
Yeah, so much for the great Bill O'Brien.
Yep. We didn't think Gundy would do it, but he did. Lost his third straight game.
Yeah, we talked just a minute.
Oklahoma State lost 3 in a row.
We just talked a minute ago about Lincoln Riley
Yeah.
Probably going to get fired.
Gundy's.
Gundy's probably going to have to start updating his resume.
Yeah.
Because this is embarrassing.
That's just bad.
West Virginia goes in to Oklahoma State and destroys them 38-14. Knockdown, drag-out fight in Nebraska, but our man Greg Schiano came up a little short.
Just missed out by a touchdown.
Even though I picked Nebraska, very impressed with the effort.
Yes. And then Washington takes out Michigan.
Probably should have seen that coming.
Yep. So there we go on that one. And then Florida did take out UCF. So much for me and Nick thinking that UCF could have done something there.
Yep. And then good call on your part, Texas Tech.
Yep, taking out Arizona.
So was that 1 week fluke where Arizona knocked off, who was it, Utah? They knocked off Utah. So maybe that was just a one and done.
But speaking of
because
Utah,
Texas Tech, I believe, just after this game, re-upped their head coach.
Yeah, they're looking like they're starting to rebound. But speaking of Utah,
now we move on to this week's game.
This week they go down to take on Arizona State.
I'm not picking an Arizona team ever fucking again. Ever again. No Arizona teams. I'm tired of them. And I put them on the slate because they're just like Texas Tech. They're in there, they're little middling, mediocre games where the point spreads are always 3, 4, 5.
I'm going on Sun Devil Island. They're going to take Utah out.
That game, of course, is coming Friday night, October the 11th. Then we move on to Saturday, October the 12th. Washington at Iowa.
Fuck Kurt Ferenc.
Yes, thank you. Washington's been a little bit up and down this year.
They are better than Iowa.
Yes, I am with you. That's another team. Fuck the Arizona teams for me. Fuck Iowa.
Sam is on Hawkeye Island.
I'm going back with Greg Schiano, my man.
Yep. Wisconsin at Rutgers. Fuck Wisconsin.
Another team. Every time you pick them, they screw you over.
Yep. But Nick and Doug are taking Wisconsin. The rest of us, the Scarlet Knights.
And of course, once again, 7 of our 8 panelists with their picks in. Georgia Tech at North Carolina. Now, North Carolina has another team with no defense.
They're on a 3-game skid. They are not going to lose 4 straight.
And Georgia Tech, everybody was all impressed about them after that first game over in Ireland, beating Florida State. Well, Florida State sucks.
They do. So
I think Mac Brown is going to try to regain some level of self-respect.
Yeah, they need to. This is a must-win for Carolina. You, me, and Nick take North Carolina. The rest, Georgia Tech.
Those other 4 clowns.
Yep. This could be an interesting game.
I don't know if they're
Cincinnati
gonna play
at UCF. That might not get played because of the hurricane.
Right. Now, we'll see what kind of damage happens in Orlando.
Yeah, it's they're gonna tornadoes are gonna be the big issue through Central Florida.
Yeah,
they've already been hitting today as we tape.
There's amazing footage I've seen.
There's some massive. There's one massive tornado that hit.
Yeah. So we don't even know if they're going to play Cincinnati at UCF. UCF this year. I'm not going to go ballistic like with the Arizona teams or Iowa, but this year, fuck UCF. Every time I try to pick them, they screw me over. I'll go with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in Cincinnati, but you and Aaron are the two taking the Bearcats. The rest of us go with UCF.
Cal coming off that near miss, that almost upset of the Hurricanes, now travels all the way east to play number 22, Pittsburgh. Nick thinks Cal's going to pull it off.
Yep, I don't like Cal football. There's just something that they just missing.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard for me because I come off as being biased when it comes to watching that game. Because obviously we don't watch Cal football that much here.
Right.
Even now that they're in the ACC, we're still not watching a ton of Cal football. So that was a very small window of exposure I got to them watching that Miami game. Yeah, they looked good, but how much of that was, again, Miami's defensive ineptitude?
Right. Did Miami go out there thinking it would be a cakewalk?
I'm taking Pitt.
Yep.
Everybody, again, except for Nick, taking the Panthers. Number 4, Penn State going out west. This is a Big Ten matchup. Get used to it.
Yep.
I'm
going on principle.
See, this is what I did with the Jets. This is what I did with the Jets. There is no reason you should be taking USC in this game, but you are.
Penn State always craps the bed when they shouldn't.
No, November.
They're doing it.
In November.
They're doing it early this year. This is the one.
No, James Franklin will pull a Gundy, but
Franklin will Franklin himself.
He pulls a Franklin later this year.
Usually, this will be the year it comes earlier. Look at whoever's moving up. They're tending to drop the next week.
Well, you're on USC Island.
I am.
Everybody else takes Penn State.
Oh, let's back it up with Arizona Island. BYU.
I have made my point very clear about the Arizona
BYU
schools.
is due for their fall.
No, that's a good football team.
They are due.
Arizona at number 14, BYU. It's not an away game, it's a home game.
I don't care. They're going to overlook it.
Everybody but you taking BYU.
Yep. Which is why I suck in the picks this year. But I got to do something to try and make some moves at this point.
All right, Washington State at Fresno State. Of course, one of the teams in the Pac-2.
Yep. So everybody's taking Washington State except for Doug going with Fresno State.
Yep. Then a Titanic, again, Big Ten matchup, even though you wouldn't think it. Number 2, Ohio State going out west to play number 3, Oregon. I just have not been impressed at all with Oregon this year. And coming into this year, I was on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I thought both of these teams were going to be in the Final Four. Could
Who
still
knows
happen.
now?
Could still happen.
Potentially, we'll see.
I'm just right now going with the better team.
There you go. You, Bill, Nick, and Doug going with Ohio State. Me, Sam, and Aaron going with the Ducks at home.
That'll be a good game.
It should
Fun game
be a
to watch.
doozy. All right, Mississippi going to play LSU.
Number 9 versus number 13. I've lost all respect for Lane Kiffin. This was the year that he was supposed to make that run. I picked them to be in the Final Four, and he's already shit the bed once. Now I'm done with him. I don't trust him. He's not Gundy to me. He might as well grow a mullet. He might as well grow a fucking mullet. Because I'm done with Lane Kiffin now. As much as I hate Brian Kelly, LSU's already had their little moment at the beginning of the year. Now they get on their run. I will take the LSU Tigers.
Yep.
At home, by the way.
You and Sam taking LSU at home. The rest of us think that Lane will do the bounce back. Going with Mississippi.
We shall see. Now, here's where I got really nutsy, cuckoo with my picks. This is where I decided to book my charter boat and head out to the island.
You know, I was almost with you. Iowa State at West Virginia.
I'm sick. I am sick of these Midwestern flyover country schools. I'm sick of Iowa State and Iowa and Kansas State. I hate them all. I hate them, Oklahoma State. I hate them. I can't depend on them for nothing. I'm done picking them.
Then let's go D2.
I'm taking the Hillbillies. I'm going to West Virginia at home. I don't care if Iowa State's number 11. They're vastly overrated. West Virginia wins this game easily. I think easily wins this game.
I flipped a coin on this one. This was a heads Iowa State, tails West Virginia.
But I'm the only one. Everybody else going with the ranked team, and that's fine.
Yep. This one was a principal pick for me.
What did I tell you a few minutes ago? Pure Evil will win this weekend. The Jets will win, and the Colorado Buffaloes will win. Deion Sanders, who we'll talk about later,
The devil.
will win. They are on a roll. They're playing better. I don't trust Kansas State on the road in a big showdown game like this. I will take the Buffaloes. And by the way, one thing I will say I like about Deion, I love the gray beard. He looks really cool in that snow white gray beard. He does.
It's the one thing he
that's
got.
it.
That's all he got going for him.
Otherwise, he can burn in hell. That's it.
There you go. You've got Colorado. The rest of us taking K-State. May Colorado go down in a horrible mess.
All right, kids. That is your hour plus of football. But we have a few more things to discuss, including NASCAR.
Baseball playoffs.
We've got the hockey season that has just begun.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
meet the new
for you.
Hawks, same as the old Hawks.
So next up, let's talk baseball. So today we have taken one step closer
To hell.
to our worst fears being realized as the New York Mets defeated the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLDS, and they have moved on to the NLCS. God help us all.
Let's go, Padres. Let's go, Padres.
Good Lord.
Oh.
I will not be able to, now I can't listen to my radio shows for at least the next week. Because I can't deal with the sycophants on the New York sports radio channels talking all, oh, isn't this wonderful? Isn't it the greatest thing ever? The promise of Steve Cohen has come to fruition. Oh my God. So the Mets are the first team to advance to the Final Four in baseball as they beat the Phillies today 4-1. I believe it was because of a Francisco Lindor Grand Slam.
The Phillies could only muster one damn run.
And that Mets rotation is not that good. It's a bunch of cast-offs and has-beens. Jose Quintana and Sean Manaea.
How are they still around?
It's magic, Dave. It's Mets magic.
Bullshit.
Let's go, Padres. Oh, my God. Padres, please dispatch the Dodgers tonight and then get prepped, get your rotation set, and just beat the holy hell out of the fucking Dodgers, out of the fucking Mets after you beat the Dodgers.
Please, please. Evil cannot win.
And then on the AL side of things, we've got the Detroit Tigers up 2-1 on the Cleveland Guardians.
Yep, they won 3-0 this afternoon as we tape here, October 9th.
All three games, by the way, in that series have been shutouts.
Yes, it's all or nothing.
Yep. Now, the best case scenario for the Tigers is win game 4 at home, have it set up so Tarek Skubal is your game 1 starter against either the Royals or the Yankees. Hopefully the Royals.
Yes, that game.
Yeah, Major League Baseball won't like it, but I'll watch it. I will watch Tigers Royals.
Yeah, we haven't seen enough of that during the regular season.
Yeah. I don't want to see the goddamn Yankees.
Fuck the Yankees, those arrogant pricks.
And by the way, if it gets to the point where we're looking at Mets, Yankees, I believe, 2 of the top 3 payrolls in baseball.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, God.
And I believe right now, as we're taping, it's 2-2 between the Yankees and the Royals in Game 3.
Yep. So there we go.
Later on tonight is Game 4 between the Padres and the Dodgers. Now, we did have a couple fired managers. Now, a few weeks ago, the Reds, just before the end of the season, got rid of David Bell. And
lo and behold, they have a phenomenal manager coming out of retirement. Terry Francona signs on to manage the Reds.
He must see something in Ellie De La Cruz. He must think this guy is the second coming of, it's Juan Soto, Fernando
Or
Tatis Jr., one of
somebody.
those.
He sees something he likes in the Reds with the young talent they have. Otherwise, he never would have done this.
And plus, he probably believes he can get that team to win the division first year.
Yeah. He has to.
He's not worried about the Brewers. God knows he shouldn't be worried about the Cubs.
Yeah, no, there's no team there that should be able to stop the Reds with a good manager. And Francona is one of the best managers in the last 30 years.
Yeah, this is not good news for me.
So.
This is not good news for me. Then, of course, the Marlins dismissed your future new manager, Skip Schumacher, who the White Sox seem to be enamored with. All accounts, rumors, saying that Skip Schumacher will be the next head coach, the next manager of the White Sox.
Can it get any worse? Can it get any damn worse?
I don't see how you're going to lose 121 games. So it's got to only get... things can only get better, according to the great Howard Jones back in the 80s. By the way, going back to the playoffs for just a second, as I was ranting about how the Yankees and the Mets, are 2 of the top payroll teams, looking like they're heading for a cataclysmic World Series, can I point out that in the wild card round, okay, I'm not talking about the current round, I'm not talking about the ALDS playing the Guardians, but the wild card round, the Tigers played, of course, and won.
Yep.
They beat, the Orioles, I believe?
Yes, they did.
Do you realize that based on who they had active on their roster, Javi Baez, obviously they didn't have him on the roster. A couple other higher priced players did not have on the roster. Kenta Maeda, I think, was off the roster.
I saw that.
$18.8 million roster.
Yes.
Is what they put out there for the wild card round. Isn't that unbelievable?
That is incredible. Considering, was it the Royals reliever earns over $19 million a year?
The Royals?
No.
I was going to say the Royals.
No, the Orioles.
Oh, was that Kimbrel?
Yeah, no. Where was it?
I was going to say, there's no way the Royals have a $19 million reliever.
It was the Orioles. Where the hell is that?
Yeah, but the Orioles aren't really that far up on the payroll scale either.
No.
But all that being said, please, baseball gods, please spare us, as I say this little prayer, please spare us from a New York Mets, New York Yankees World Series.
Please.
Nobody will care outside of New York. Nobody. Philadelphia's not watching. The Midwest isn't watching. The West Coast isn't watching. The Deep South isn't watching. Nobody will watch this crap.
No,
please
we will not.
Do not subject us to this.
No, it was the Tigers beating the Astros.
Okay, sorry.
So the Tigers payroll
So
that
Hayden
won was 18.8. Hader, 19 million.
There you go. Sorry.
So, sorry, we had to get that right. That's the only time we'll apologize for factual mistakes.
And that's on me. I was the one that said the Tigers played the Orioles. That is incorrect. It was the Royals.
The Royals beat the Orioles.
All right, let's move on to NASCAR. I could go on and on and on for hours about how much I hate, on many, many different levels, super speedway racing.
It's getting worse and worse and more boring every time out. It's not enjoyable.
Going, when is it going to happen? Is my guy who I picked going to get wiped out, which 90% of the time is a hell yes, Maestro. Your guy's going to get taken out.
Yeah, it's just not fun to watch.
Yeah, it's not fun at all.
No, the drivers don't like it. It's just, It's get in line. Maybe you might be able to make a move, maybe not.
Depends on if you're lined up with one of your teammates or one of your manufacturer teammates.
And even there's no guarantee there. It's just...
And yet somehow the good drivers, otherwise, on every other track, the good drivers just can't break through on a super speedway because there's not that much skill involved. It is luck.
It's hang on and hope for the best.
But yet somehow there's 2 or 3 drivers that know how to do this.
No, they just happen to manage to be in survival mode that skip through the bullshit.
Michael McDowell had the pole for the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega last weekend. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wins another super speedway race. The only race...
By survival.
The only races he has ever won in his career have been on super speedways. What does that tell you?
That he's been lucky enough to survive the big one.
Him, Bubba Wallace, Austin Dillon.
Yep, those are the only ones that they can do anything with.
I mean, you never see Chase Elliott can't win a super speedway race. Martin Truex never could win a super speedway race.
Nope, it's a tough run.
And of course, then we had the big one.
Biggest big one in history.
A record number of cars involved.
What was it, 28?
28 drivers involved in a crash on lap 184.
Where the 6th place car hit the 3rd place car, spinning out the 1st place car, causing the massive melee.
I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it.
It's just not fun.
And I can bitch and piss and moan all the time about fantasy football. We've all been there. We've all done that. I had Rashee Rice get injured early in the game last weekend, costing me a chance at a win. But, I mean, now I'm screwed in our NASCAR because of one fucking race.
Yep.
One race! And I had my driver penciled in for weeks, and this was one of those races where I was like, that's who I'm taking. No problem, no bones about it. I had Joey Logano.
Yeah.
And just because Bill takes William Byron, who I never would have taken at a super speedway, and he survives and finishes with a ton of stage points, now we're buried behind Bill. Somehow Bill, who hates NASCAR, fucking wins the Frenzy Cup every other year.
Yeah,
I don't get
this. Fucking happen?
You and I have followed NASCAR for decades and decades, and Bill, who despises NASCAR and just does it because it's part of the Penna Frenzy, wins the fucking Frenzy Cup literally every other year.
It's annoying as hell.
So now we've got to make up some ground.
Yeah.
Halfway through the playoffs. Halfway through the playoffs. Now we move on to the round of 12 elimination race.
Yep, going to the Charlotte Roval.
The Bank of America 400. The second road
Fuck
course.
you, Bill.
You want to explain to the kids why you're so upset with Bill on this particular matter?
Yes, because the leader sends his picks out early in the playoffs, and he chose Tyler fucking Reddick, who I had penciled in 3 weeks before the playoffs even began. So now, instead of playing right along, I'm hoping that disaster will hit for him at this point, and I had to call an audible in an attempt to make up some ground. So, there we go. So, Bill and Sam are taking Tyler Reddick. I'm called the audible with Chase Elliott, who's on the bubble.
Can I just tell you something? You need to calm down.
No!
It's a good pick. Here's what you've got to look at.
See, now I know.
If I had not already burned my Chase Elliott, I would have taken him here.
Yeah, I'm taking Elliott here because I know I can take Reddick somewhere else down the line.
You've got to look at where these drivers are positioned in terms of points and how things stack up going to the next round.
Reddick and Elliott are both right there on the cusp.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Elliott needs to get stage points and needs to finish high.
Yes.
So it's not a bad pick at all.
No, it's not. But I would have preferred, but I've adjusted. I've adjusted.
I was going to go. I had it penciled in, just like you. You had Tyler Reddick penciled in. I had Christopher Bell penciled in. And then I look and see how many points ahead he is. And
he's clear.
Yeah, he's not going to push.
Right.
Byron's already in, I think, to the next round.
Oh, yeah.
He's locked in, no matter what. Bell's close.
Bell's locked in.
So I'm like,
much.
what? Am I really going to go with Christopher Bell now? Or should I hold him off? Yes, I know it's not going to be maybe a track that he excels at. Maybe the final race, if he makes the final four. Do I want to keep him for that race? And I'm like, why not? I'm buried now in a deep, dark hole because of Talladega. Why not go with the dinger?
Why not?
And I looked 2 years ago. I did my research. You might think, Kev, this is not a good pick. He's not going to be running for points.
It doesn't matter. He's running for a win.
2 years ago, he was not full-time Cup. Last year, he was. 2 years ago, full-time, he was not full-time Cup. He put up what would have been pretty solid points in stage level and then finished the race high. That's what I'm hoping for.
Points day.
Yes. I don't think he'll pull the chicken shit stuff.
No.
Where he'll pit a lap or two before the caution.
Ugh, I hate that bullshit. But Mrs. C agrees with you. Both of you go with Allmendinger.
And Nick goes with the other one.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
And that's all I've been hearing the last couple days is Dinger and Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen and Dinger. Everybody is zeroing in on these two ringers.
But you're discounting a couple of the guys who have to.
I'm not discounting Elliott. I told you that's a great pick.
That's what I meant.
He's got
That's
to
what I
get
meant.
Points.
People are focusing on Dinger and Van Gisbergen, but Elliott has to have. He needs it to guarantee.
I'm just hoping to hold my ground. I have enough good drivers left now for the last 4 races after this. If Dinger comes through with a solid finish for me, I will be able to. You worry me, because now you jumped ahead of me. You're second, I'm third now, and you and I have got some similar stuff going on. So
I've got.
But you and I are close. So if
race.
you and I stay close until the end, I'm fine with that. We gotta make up ground on Bill now.
Right, we have to.
So,
there's no collusion.
No, because we're picking different drivers.
Yes.
No, so again, Nick's taking Shane Van Gisbergen, Doug taking Ross Chastain,
and Aaron William Byron. There we go.
Yeah, I cannot lose ground. That's all I'm going to say. I cannot lose ground to Bill in this race. if I can keep the 40-point deficit, I think next week I can make up a lot of that. And I think you can too. Because I have a feeling that you and I am... That's not collusion!
No. We might have slightly different ways to get there, potentially.
Okay.
But there's a particular driver we have. It depends on where we decide to use him.
Now, you've already used Bell.
I have.
So I've still got him.
We both have our Larsons.
Did you use Byron already?
Yes, I did.
So I've got a Byron, too. So it's going to be Larson.
Larson. Where are we using Larson?
Oh, I already know where I'm using him. I'm penciled in, locked, set in stone no matter what. Same with Byron, by the way.
There you go. I've got one that I'm worried about. One track that I don't have a feel for.
I've got one too.
And that's, I've got to decide who am I going to throw out that's not in the chase.
And that's why this was a really difficult pick for me.
Yeah.
Is because I'm basically sacrificing Christopher Bell, hoping that he makes it to the end. And I can put him in at Phoenix. Because if he doesn't make it to Phoenix, I have a backup, but then that screws me on maybe that other track you're thinking of. I know. It's all cryptic.
It's
Deal with it. We're not. We're competitors. We're competing against each other. We like to discuss this stuff, but we also
in a cryptic way.
But we also know we don't want to give the other guy an advantage.
That's right.
Oh, by the way, we're also the top 2 teams in our fantasy football league. So we're doing that with the fantasy football stuff too. Oh my God! All right, quick on the basketball front. The preseason has begun in the NBA.
Yes, it has. No, I think this is we are saving for the end.
Yes, we've got something in the NBA we're saving for the end.
And somebody who belongs on the plane of doom.
Literally and figuratively.
Again, fucking things over. Oh, I hate this guy's ego.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're simpatico on that. But yeah, that's going to be coming in a few minutes.
Yes.
So the preseason has begun. Again, maybe that's why that clicked with Dave. Oh, remember how Adrian Wojnarowski left as an ESPN insider?
Yes.
To take over as the general manager of St. Bonaventure basketball? Yes. Well, they have announced, ESPN has announced
gong, 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 gong.
The new senior NBA insider coming from The Athletic is Shams Charania.
Whoop-de-fucking-do. Who cares?
I've heard New York media talk about Shams all the time.
Who cares?
He sounds like he's a bullshit artist to me. He sounds like half the stuff he puts out there doesn't come true or is incorrect or it's not factual. So that sounds
perfect for ESPN. There you go.
The WNBA. We have the finals. The finals are set. Lesbian versus lesbian. I mean Liberty versus Lynx. The New York Liberty with the home court advantage over the Minnesota Lynx.
There was a slip of the tongue.
Oh, Dave. Oh, you naughty, naughty boy. Well, of course, that leads us into hockey.
Yeah. Meet the black. Like I said, leading into this, meet the new Hawks, same as the old Hawks. Fall in the season opener out in Utah. Utah's inaugural home game. The Utah Hockey Club beats the Chicago Blackhawks 5-2. I shut it off midway through the first period when Utah went up 2-0 because the Hawks still looked like shit. They had no puck control whatsoever.
Well, and plus, who would have thought
they just are not well coached?
This would have been a buzzsaw game in terms of you're going to throw the Blackhawks out there for the very first game for a franchise with a rabid, now a new fan base,
Yeah.
who can't wait to welcome their new team with open arms.
Yeah.
You know.
And there you go.
It's a trap game. In a way, it was a trap game for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, and that is pretty much what I expected to happen did. So, I'm not holding out much hope for this season yet. They've got some decent players. I don't think the coaching staff is all that.
All right, we move on to Moments of Silence.
Yep, we have to, unfortunately, honor the fallen here on Spotify. Good Pods, Podcast, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
What the hell was that? You act like you're reading a eulogy at a funeral.
We're getting ready for the Moments of Silence.
Oh my God.
I am prepping for the honoring the memory of the
Jesus
fallen.
Christ, I hope when I die,
Good Lord,
you have
man.
that kind of respect when you read my eulogy, because you're going to be the one reading my eulogy.
You have it written?
I have to write it? I have to write it? Oh my God. Oh, well, that's another thing I got to put on my agenda. I have to write my own eulogy now.
I've got it covered, for the love of all that's holy.
I've already told you guys what I need to be dressed in, like quadruple layers. I need to have my Van Halen shirt and my rock and roll 80s and 70s hairband shirt.
And then your Cubs jersey.
Yes, all that stuff. Yes. And then you know what to put on the headstone. Spare no expense. I think I would like black roses put at my gravesite every month. Black roses would be cool. Yeah, I'll be lucky if Dave doesn't urinate on my grave every month.
Well, I thought we were cremating you and spreading your ashes illegally.
The groundskeeper will come. Why is the grass always dead around Mr. Crane's grave? I don't understand.
I thought we were cremating you. And
no, I'm not doing that anymore. No, I'm off cremation now. Bullshit. I'm off cremation. I'm not doing that. That's the easy way out. I want my bones to rot in a wooden box for all eternity. But I want an awesome headstone with Van Halen, the insignia, the logo. Here lies the maestro, the Lord God King of rock and roll. Boom.
There you go.
And then you can piss on that all you want. All right, so that's a good way to lead to moments of silence. I do have numbers for this. I do have numbers, but first off, let's start off with, in honor of Mrs. C. I know she's a huge Buffalo Bills fan.
Yep.
So Billy Shaw, Hall of Fame guard. I never would have guessed this.
Yeah.
I like to think I know my sports, but I don't know Billy Shaw. I didn't know he was in the Hall of Fame.
Neither did I.
Offensive guard for the Buffalo Bills. Passed away here recently. But not trying to diminish Billy Shaw, but a pitcher who I grew up with. A pitcher who I always thought was awesome beyond belief, and the numbers will bear it out. Luis Tiant passed away. Now, Luis Tiant pitched primarily for the Red Sox and the Indians. But I want to give you his numbers. And let's compare his numbers to what a lot of these pitchers in the modern day have.
Not even
and
close,
let's
I'm
see
sure.
if Luis Tiant should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, shall we?
Let's.
Luis Tiant has 229 wins. Not too shabby.
No.
2,416 strikeouts.
Nice.
Here's where I think things get impressive.
What was his ERA?
About 3.3. 3.3.
It's respectable.
Right around there.
It's a respectable ERA.
How many complete games? Now keep in mind, this is an old school pitcher from the late 60s through the early 80s.
Oof. 20?
Are you kidding me? 187.
Holy shit!
Luis Tiant threw 187 complete games, including 49 shutouts.
Damn. Damn.
I defy any of these wussies pitching now.
Nobody is ever going to throw a complete game again. Well, I take that back.
No, I think you're right. I actually think you're right.
You might maybe get one a season.
It would have to be the most efficient game possible.
Yeah, nobody is ever going to be able to get a complete game.
Because once you hit 100 pitches, we got to pull you.
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
Like you said, the only way they're going to get a complete game is if they get to the ninth inning.
And there may be 100 pitches with
close.
Working on a perfect game.
Or close to it, yeah. But again, they have to minimize the number of pitches, probably have to have 12 or 13 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, you're approaching 100 pitches. We have to pull you. Thanks, you stat geeks, you analytic fucktards, for ruining the game of baseball.
And this is why we have more arm injuries, as these guys are not stretching out.
And once again, I will point.
Max effort, short term. That is not how you pitch.
And I am pointing to this man who just left this mortal coil, who was awesome. And again, fond memories from my childhood. Luis Tiant. Look at those numbers look them up. Listen to the numbers I gave you. Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer, especially when you compare him to the wuss bags of nowadays.
Thoughts and prayers to both their families and friends.
All right, Dave. What do we do now?
Now it's time to pivot to the greatest segment in all of podcast land as we determine which of these candidates gets voted as the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week.
Yeah, and of course, a little spoiler here from the weekend edition coming up this Saturday morning.
Your hangover cure, politically incorrect pop culture commentary.
That 90s show has been canceled by Netflix.
But Red Foreman will live on.
Forever and ever. As long as there is breath in these two podcasters' bodies, Red Foreman will always be out there. And of course, there are so many stupid fucktards in the world, they'll keep it going as well. We have six candidates this week on the sports side of things.
I already know who my leader is. Let's see if we can knock him off the pedestal.
I'm going to hold off on it for a while. Let's start off with something we hate anyway. Soccer. And this is another reason why we should all hate soccer. Despite the fact that all the snowflakes, the men growing up in this day and age who claim to be men, oh, I love soccer. Soccer's wonderful. I'm going to get a latte and watch soccer on my TV.
Balls. Oh, wait, you don't have any.
Chelsea. Again, one of these soccer teams. Chelsea. One of their players, Christopher Nkunku, scored a goal. And we all know how often goals are scored in soccer.
Not very.
So you got to celebrate, right? And you and I are always talking about these weird sometimes ridiculously pathetic celebrations in the NFL. We'll get to that in a minute. Well, Christopher Nkunku decided to take it a little bit further after he scored a goal. He scored a goal, he pulled a balloon out of his sock and blew it up in the middle of the pitch to celebrate the fact that he'd scored a goal.
Why?
He's a dumbass!
That's fucking stupid.
He had a balloon in his sock. He pulled it out.
If I score, I'm going to blow up a balloon. Look how cool I am. No.
And like
no,
I said,
you're not.
This is why we hate soccer here on Sports Frenzy 2.0. We also hate Jerry Jones.
That goes without saying.
What an egomaniacal idiot he is. Last week, they had to stop Dallas Cowboys practice. Pull the players off the practice field because Jerry Jones needed to land his private helicopter
in the middle of the field. Oh, what a fucktard.
Yeah. And then he gets out of it like, oh, nothing to see here. Nothing wrong here. It's just me, Jerry Jones.
Yeah. Go away.
And this guy is supposedly focused on putting together and running a winning football franchise.
And he's interrupting practice to land his fucking helicopter on the practice field. If he's so damn rich and well off, why doesn't he have a helipad outside the practice facility?
He does.
No, he just wanted to make the grand entrance because he's a douchebag.
There you go. Or
a dumbass. Or both.
All right, now let me see. Now we'll go ahead. Let me see if this is the one you were thinking of. I've kept you in suspense long enough. LeBron James. LeBron James is not happy. LeBron James, even though he got the Lakers to draft his son and overpay him in the second round of
the Aaron Rodgers of basketball,
this past draft, and we all can't wait to see these two play together. But now, LeBron doesn't really like a lot of the aspects of the preseason. Especially because he doesn't want to fly to Milwaukee for a preseason game.
What a little fucking pansy.
Now let's keep in mind, kids.
What?
Lakers.
Somebody explain to me why I have to fly to Milwaukee for a preseason game because I'm such an entitled little asshat.
Well, I can explain why. Because the Lakers' Crypto.com arena is undergoing renovations. So all 6 of their preseason games have to be on the road. So what does he want? Does he want to just play the Clippers 6 times? Is that what he wants?
Probably, because God forbid he actually has to go to another city and play. And God, I'm sick of this guy.
He is the NBA, like you said, the NBA's version of Aaron Rodgers. He thinks he's the Lord God King shit of the league, and he can run it. And again, shame on the Lakers front office
for bowing down to this guy.
You have got such a history with Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and you put up with this fucktard because he got you 1 title during the COVID year. Congratulations, LA. You have tarnished your legacy. One of the greatest franchises in sports history.
And you're flushing it down the crapper.
Dave, would you agree that one of our favorite movies, specifically comedies of all time, would be the awesome, the fantastic Caddyshack?
Of course.
You remember Spaulding Smails?
Yes. Dookie.
Gardner Minshew, after being benched this past weekend for the Raiders in favor of Aiden O'Connell, cameras caught him on the sidelines.
Eating a Baby Ruth?
No, eating something else. Eating something else. $15 says this Smails kid is going to pick his nose and eat it.
Oh.
Gardner Minshew
Gardner.
caught on camera picking his nose and eating it.
Oh, Gardner.
I have lost a ton of respect for him.
Oh, Spaulding. Wow.
He's going for it. Oh! And then I saw this on Breakfast Ball. It's because I'm getting this stuff from all over the place now. So this was on Breakfast Ball with our boy Danny Perkins.
Yeah.
But Schlereth was the one that chimed in and said, well, I've heard that if you do that, it actually helps your immune system. I don't know how to look that up. How am I supposed to Google that? Boogers help you live longer? I mean, what am I supposed to Google? Seriously.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
Now that just harkens back to Ren and Stimpy.
Ren,
Oh.
check out my nose goblet collection. I picked them myself.
Oh, you know I'm a sucker for Ren and Stimpy. All right, compared to these other ones we've had so far, maybe this is a little tame.
Oh, God.
Oh, by the way, I'm adding another one. I've decided. Now we're 7. We're going to 7. This one's a little tame compared to what else we've had. But, I get tired. You know how much, I know how much you love California.
We were promised that they were going to fall off into the ocean.
But I get tired of everybody saying how wonderful California is, the glitz, the glamour.
It's a
Do
shithole.
people realize you take your life into your own hands when you go to Chavez Ravine and see a Dodgers game?
Yeah, no kidding.
All the stories that
They're
we've heard over the
evil
years.
and vile.
They will take you out in the parking lot. If you're a Giants fan, a San Francisco Giants fan, and you show up in Giants gear.
Oh, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah. Well, we know that the Padres and the Dodgers are bitter rivals as well. So they've got this ALDS series going on. Dodger fans, class acts that they are, in Game 2 of the NLDS, decided to throw objects on the field at Jerkson Profar while he was playing the outfield for the Padres.
Yep. They threw him at Tatis as well.
And then, of course, Dave Roberts, the most overrated fucking manager in baseball, is mad because I swear Manny Machado threw a baseball at me when I was sitting in the dugout.
Nobody cares enough about you, Dave.
How about you fucking do more than win one, again, COVID championship, and then we'll care. Do you notice the pattern? LeBron wins one COVID championship with the Lakers. Dave Roberts wins one
COVID championship with the Dodgers.
They can't win when they have to play a full season and then a full playoff schedule. Oh, our buddy. And seriously, I was watching this game Monday night, the Chiefs and the Saints. Literally at least 3 or 4 times they show Travis Kelce, and he looks like a country bumpkin who's got like no brains. He's kind of got one eye partially shut, and he's looking off into the distance like, oh, wonder if I can go home tonight and get a raccoon and cook it and bake it. Travis Kelce. Now, I was really pissed off a couple weeks ago about Drake London. And he had this celebration after he caught a touchdown pass where he did the
machine gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's all upset. Oh, wait, it's racist that you find these people. And
Whatever.
no, it's not. But Travis Kelce might have had the worst take on it ever. Ever. Taylor Swift, how the fuck do you think this guy is boyfriend material? Have you watched the commercials with him and his brother and their stupid ass cereal mix? But I digress. So talking about, I guess, Alan Lazard of the Jets did the gun thing, not the machine gun thing, but just did a single hand pistol thing, and he got flagged and he got fined.
But did he holster it? Because come on.
They should. That'd be cooler. Still get fined, but at least you go out with a little bit of class.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, believe it or not, implied that the NFL gun celebrations are protected by the Second Amendment.
Oh, sweet Jesus, God Almighty. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Somebody needs to explain to Travis the difference between actually owning a gun and using it responsibly and firing it indiscriminately. Because he also pointed out that if Alan Lazard didn't point at anybody and shoot, then I don't see what the problem is.
In normal times, it shouldn't be an issue. But with all the mass shootings and everybody being super sensitive to that stuff, you kind of have to use your brain a little bit here.
Which I don't think he's capable of.
Right. God, so many. As much as I wanted to put LeBron James on the pedestal of dumbass of the week, I have to go with Mr. Kelce.
We're not done yet. I got one more.
Oh, come on.
Because it's your boy. This is a guy that you have loved in fantasy football for the last couple years. So I got to bring him up as the final one. George Pickens. Wide receiver for the Steelers. Underachieving wide receiver.
Big time underachiever.
George Pickens is being investigated by the NFL for violating their rules about personal messages on clothing or any part of the uniform because the last game, that would be this past game we talked about with the Cowboys, he had his little tape, his eye black tape under his eyes, and he decided to write in a gray Sharpie on his eye black, "Open fucking always." So, I don't know what to say other than, why would you do that? What is with these receivers? Why are these receivers, are they brain damaged?
Yeah.
What is wrong with them?
Because he's trying to communicate a message to his quarterback.
But he doesn't even know who his quarterback's going to be. It could be Russell Wilson this week.
I got nothing.
Can I point out as a sidebar, dumbass? Again, dealing with the NFL, dealing with the uniform and what they wear, and I know
They do take a lot of shots to the head, so I think they are all brain damaged in some way, shape, or form.
Well, we talked about Robert Saleh getting fired, right? There are actually people out there. I'm just putting it out there. This is not my opinion. This is what other people are saying. That one of the reasons why he could have possibly been fired is because when they went overseas for the game in London, where they played the Vikings, at the press conference, Robert Saleh had his little, great shape. Dude is in awesome shape. So he's got his little tight-fitting sweatshirt on, his half zip or whatever it is. On his, I believe his left arm, he had the Lebanese flag on it. And so there are a lot of people who are saying he's making a political statement. You can't do that, especially overseas. Now, do I believe that's what got him fired? No. Do I believe that was one more nail in the coffin?
Probably.
Maybe.
And is this coming from the people who believe that these last two hurricanes were manufactured by Democratic supporters? You've heard that one.
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah. It's out there that they are creating
Oh my
the
God.
weather to decimate Trump's voting base. So they can't vote for Trump.
I have heard. No, I have not heard that.
Oh no, that's out there.
I have
That started with Marjorie Taylor Greene with Hurricane Helene. She said they caused this hurricane to go up through there. Now it's gained traction with other morons with Milton now.
No, I did not hear that. What I heard was
How fucking stupid is this
yes,
country?
Yeah. Now, what I heard was that Biden and Kamala were not going to offer aid as quickly as they normally would if it had been California or New York. I did hear that. I did hear that that's a reason why they didn't jump and help out North Carolina as much as they should have.
Because there was also the thing that Trump wasn't going to send aid to California for the wildfires. They're all assholes.
Yes. But you need to decide
Which is the lesser asshole? Oh.
We've got 7 to choose from, Dave. LeBron James, Gardner Minshew, George Pickens, asshole Dodger fans, Jerry Jones, Travis Kelce, or Chelsea's Christopher Nkunku. You need to pick the Red Foreman dumbass of the week.
Minshew or Kelce? Minshew or Kelce? I will go with Kelce because he knowingly made that stupid-ass statement.
I was going to say, Booger Eater, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that big of a deal. LeBron,
I gotta go with Kelce.
Yeah.
LeBron is just an asshat.
I got to go with LeBron. Any chance I can.
There we go.
That's
1A, 1B.
Oh my God. Please tell me, since you are, of course, partially in charge along with me of the
Running of everything?
well, specifically in this case, the Plane of Doom. We still have LeBron James scheduled, penciled in for a prime seat, right?
Yes.
And it will take a hell of a lot to take him off the plane. Now, Travis Kelce, standby. He's probably on standby.
Yeah.
But, don't worry, LeBron. You've got plenty of company. We got Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar to keep you company.
And Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Someday we're going to have to actually post that.
Post the passenger list?
Yes, we're going to have to post a
seating
picture,
chart.
Yeah, seating chart. A picture of a 747 and then tell everybody where our favorites are sitting.
Colbert and Kimmel. And
oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
political figures, too.
We're going to balance it out. We're
Yeah.
going to balance it out.
We've got it between sports, politics, entertainment.
Celebrities.
Yes.
De Niro's
they're
on
all there.
De Niro's got to be on
all there. De Niro and Clooney.
there. Yep. Bette Midler. So
Yep.
someday we'll have
We will have to figure out the plane of doom.
And the thing is, if we go with the 747, there's going to be so many seats. We'll have a lot of fun with that.
I know this originally started with a small Gulfstream.
Yes, it did.
When it was pretty much
Yeah.
Tiger
Yep.
and the View.
Yeah. And now it just keeps growing and growing and growing. We'll have to. Too bad we still don't have Tim Richardson. I know his artistic ability.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. C could do it. Mrs.
Yep.
C could design the outside.
Yes. Oh.
But that's
Yeah.
going to do it. That's going to do it. But we're not quite done yet because in a couple days, it is time for your Saturday morning hangover cure. Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition, coming this Saturday morning, October the 12th.
Yep.
We will criticize all the usual assholes, just like we do here in sports, except we'll do it in government and pop culture.
Yep, we got an album review, Soul Asylum, Slowly But Surely.
We will check in on The Penguin, this week's episode.
And we got a couple movie reviews.
Because it is October, spooky, scary season. So we've got a couple of spooky, scary movies for you, kids. Then, of course, we'll keep you up to date on all the latest pop culture news. We'll let you know what we're going to talk about in the coming weeks. And, of course, another edition of the Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week.
What more could you hope for?
So just remember, you go out and party on Friday night. We'll take care of you on Saturday morning. That's your Uncle Dave.
That's your Uncle Kev.
Say good night to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.